everything on top. Okay, where I'm standing right now is the helmsman, a very important person on board the ship, and he controls the rudder. He's the guy who drives the ship here. You can tell a good helmsman while you look out the back end, at the wake back there. If you've got a nice straight wake, you got a good helmsman. If you got a wake that's kind of moving around, then that helmsman should be in training. Particularly if you're in flight operations, you really don't want to be moving around very much. You want that nice straight wake behind you back there. He will keep his course by a gyro compass here, and then he will also check it against a plain old magnetic compass up here. And he does this during. Standing right there will be the lead helmsman. He's the one who passes orders down to the engine. The captain says, I want to have 20 knots. He will give him an all-head full on there, and then he will put the 3 knobs down below there. He will tell them what RPM he wants them to turn, so he gets that the speed that the captain wants, or the OOD wants him to make. You also have the senior enlisted guy. You hear the senior boatswain here. He's the one who does all the calls over the radio that you hear from time to time and whatnot. He's the guy who does the whistle. He does the bells ring for the time. Here. And he is responsible for all of the enlisted people up here in the, not telling like this guy where to steer, but to make sure that he's doing his job right. When you get into a really like underway replenishment or something like that, you may have a master helmsman come in here, somebody who's really good. I talked a little bit about underway replacement. When the ship needs to take on fuel, munitions, food, whatnot, depending on the intensity of operations, if you're really working hard, then the ship will probably have to take it on about every 3 days. And what happens is the underway replenishment ship sets a course along. The carrier will pull up beside him about 250 feet to one side. They'll match up speed. They'll fire lines back and forth until they get the lines pulled across. Then you'll see hoses for fuel and jet fuel come across. You may bring food, munitions that way by high line. Nowadays, a lot of times, all of those underway replenishment ships, in fact, we have one right over there, sitting out there, and they have helicopters on them, and they'll do it by lift. They'll lift that kind of stuff across. And you get mail. Well, you don't usually get mail that way, but you get food, munitions, and then fuel.
So do they have what, own whistleblower or something?
A whistle?
Wow.
Yeah, you have one, but I don't know where that's controlled, actually. When you're underway replenishment out here, the captain will usually move over here on this side, over here. Yeah, and I don't know what these do up here. Good question. Back here behind it, as we go out, we'll go out through this passageway. Notice on your left, and that's the captain's at-sea cabin in here. On a good day, a captain will get 4 or 5 hours sleep. And what sleep he gets is in his cabin right here. Sometimes he'll just move back there to do paperwork and have a little quiet. If there's not much going on out here. You're not during flight operations, you're really not. I think anytime during flight operations, even they're going to see that seat empty. Your captain's going to be there. Any more questions? All right, well, thanks for coming up, and I'll lead you back down and point you back down to code. Now it's all downhill. So
I got a quick question.
Sure.
Why do you have heavy watertight type doors up here? Just so you can seal off if it
Well,
takes
for one thing, this used to be open up here.
Okay.
Until that first mod in 1955, it was open up here. Then they closed it. As was the area down in the forecastle, down there where the anchor is and whatnot. If you go up in that area up there, that used to be open too.
Ah,
And now they closed that with a hurricane.
thank you.
Anything else? I didn't do well because I didn't challenge you with enough questions.